So the hits just keep on coming, right? I mean, how deflating and demoralizing was that? Yeah, I mean, there were parts of the game where I thought we really battled hard. You know, obviously, I don't think we defended very well, gave up 93 points. The start of the second half, I thought we defended well, and that was how we were able to build the lead. But then sustaining that effort, continuing to follow the formula, we just kind of we slip away. We just have too many cracks in that execution, and so not able to hold on. Right? Obviously, had the ball, shot clock off, up 2. Just got to take care of the ball, let them foul you, and move forward. And we just, again, I think every time there was a toughness play that needed to be made today, other than a very select few guys, we chose not to make it, right? And so, like, even on that last one where Khalil gives it to Mike, Jace Carter makes a play. Like, how about go run and get the ball and get knocked over, go to the free throw line, and we all go out of here happy. And now instead we all go out of here miserable.
Can you take me through that sequence with Khalil on that last, up 2 points? Was the plan to give it to Green there since, he's the one guard?
Well, I mean, Mike's going to get the ball, right? I mean, that's what happens. And, the hard part for us is, like, when bad things happen to us, we struggle to really bounce back and get to the next play. And so we carried that play all the way through overtime. And that's why we weren't able to perform. But, we got the ball. Khalil had it. Obviously, they were running the trap. Mike's going to get it. He's going to, take the ball. We assume they're going to foul. And Carter sees it and makes a play. And again, it's on both guys, right? Obviously, the passer is the ultimate decision maker. If you think he's open or not, you got to be that guy's eyes. And then as the receiver, like, you got to go and meet that pass. You can't wait. And so both guys have some share in the situation. And either way, it's really unfortunate. But I think we have to be able to move on to get to that next play, and we weren't able to do it. I thought Mike got a good look right at the end of regulation, and I thought it had a chance. But obviously fell a little bit short, and then they kind of just took over in overtime because we were unable to rally and get back and do the things necessary to win.
This was a week where you have 2 different issues. On Thursday, you talked about respecting the game with the lack of hustle and effort. This game is more of an execution problem. How frustrated is the coach to deal with these different kind of issues so late in the season? Is it anything that can excuse it, or?
No, that's why you're 7-20, whatever we are, right? Like, because you're still talking about this stuff at the end of the season. So first half, ball's on the ground. Matt Mayers is bending over to grab it. They dive on it, grab it, hit ahead. We foul a 3-point shooter. Like, that's not respecting the game either. You can call it execution. You can call it respecting the game. The number of times where we had opportunities to put our chest in front of a driver or a baseline cutter and we get out of the way, that's execution. That's respecting the game, right? The game's telling you, I have to protect this basket. I have to get my chest in front of this person. If they run me over, they run me over. Great. But we get out of the way, right? We had a couple times where there was some rebounds, and, like, guys were saying, well, that was a long run. Okay. So then you don't really want to win, right? Like, your actions reflect your priorities. Your actions reflect the importance level of things to you, right? You know what you care about. So you know your slides. You know how to execute the play calls, right? Like, those things matter. And obviously, like, if things don't go perfectly for us sometimes as individual players, then we forget to do those other things because we're worried about, how the world is victimizing us.
Coach, how emotionally taxing has just the entire season been with just all the ups and downs and not being able to finish again tonight?
Have you ever been in a car accident?
Thankfully not.
Okay, well, like, and not a serious car accident, but like one where you maybe get rear-ended and you're just super sore. Like, that's been about the last 4 months of my life.
Coach, we've seen Justin sporting a brace over the past couple of weeks. Is he done for the year, and how much has his absence sort of affected the rotation?
Yeah, it certainly hurts the rotation, right? I mean, we need as many bodies as we can get into the game. Chase Cook obviously was unavailable tonight. He had illness. And so, even at times we had Cam Ferris and Rondo and Enoch out there, which were some odd lineups, right? And so that, again, just throws us a little bit out of loop when we need everything to kind of go in sequential order for us to be able to be successful. So, not having Justin, obviously he's a guy who can make shots. He's a body. We had some foul trouble in the first half of that game. Obviously we struggled to protect the rim a little bit. Maybe you can keep guys fresher by rotating through. So all that stuff helps. But when you're just trying to, like, plug holes in the dam, eventually there's going to be a crack somewhere, and not having him or not having other guys and not having everybody engaged in what's going on certainly, makes it hard to win.
Noticed earlier in the day for senior night, you had a couple of managers on, or been no players, and there's a couple who are technically seniors in Cleo Spear and Jerron Williams. Obviously, the season's not over yet, but just potentially looking ahead, how important is it for you to have a roster with continuity and not having to deal with a bunch of turnover in case most of these guys are able to come back?
Well, those guys all have COVID years. So everybody's, like Enoch's a freshman again. Everybody's kind of, last year didn't count except on records and when we played the games. It didn't count for everybody else. I heard that all year long. Like the refs said, oh, it's an odd year. Okay, well, the kids are still out here competing and trying to win, and they're not fully prepared, but we're still out here playing. And no one told the kids that, like, it's, didn't really count. So a lot of those guys have another year of eligibility, right? We'd love to have roster continuity, but you have to be about the right stuff. You got to work the right way. You got to be engaged about the things that are important to the program. You got to value your opportunity. That's kind of what I told him in there, is that, usually at this stage in the game when the season's not going great, right, can you stay together? Can you value each and every day that you get to put the jersey on? And a lot of times, like the grass is greenest where it gets watered, and it's the brownest where the neighbor dog comes over and does what it does. And so you have that dynamic starting to build a little bit where are you watering your lawn? Are you taking care of your lawn? Are you taking care of the opportunity you have right now? Right? Like sometimes it's easy to disassociate and say like, oh, things aren't going well for me. It's the system's fault. It's this fault. The coaches, if I played more. Well, like you can't play much more than these guys are playing. And so at some point the onus has to come back on you to be able to execute and be in the right place and do the right things. Down the stretch, we had some critical breakdowns in some of our zone slides, which, that's day one stuff, right? So those kind of plays have just been plaguing us all year long, because I don't know if everybody's really watering the lawn and appreciating and investing in the opportunity that they have here. Because the mindset of everybody now is that, well, there'll be like 17 more opportunities for me if I so desire. And unfortunately, that's not the way the real world works. And trying to get guys to understand that has been a challenge.
Foul trouble was a major issue for you guys in the first half tonight, especially with the shorter bench. Was there a different attack plan in that second half in terms of guarding? I know you weren't able to, guard guys without getting contact. So was there a different game plan going into the second half there, especially with the shorter bench that you had?
Well, I think when you have foul trouble like that, you've got to be more in tune to the detail, right? Like that ball leaves someone's hands. You got to make sure you're reacting on time. Like a lot of time fouls come when you relax, when you're late on a rotation or you're late on a closeout, if you're not fully engaged in what you're doing. So when you're more in tune with the details, sometimes you can defend without fouling because you're anticipating seeing the next play. You're in the right position, right? You don't get behind during the course of the possession. We stayed with some zone for stretches, obviously because of some of the foul trouble. And then I thought it had some effectiveness at times. We struggled to guard them man-to-man when we were in Chicago a couple weeks back. And, we thought the zone would just give us, a better opportunity. And then with the foul trouble, that kind of made it an easier decision.
Any other questions for Coach?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach.